Welcome in, everyone, to Football Friday, presented by Football Addicts Anonymous. I am live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, visiting Marquette, home of the Golden Eagles, sitting as a future Golden Eagle myself.
Better become a basketball fan and better become one fast. Shaka Smart is going to get you in those stands, baby.
I followed their entire season this year.
Nah, you did. They just don't have football, but we'll always welcome you in Georgia.
It was rough at times this year watching Marquette play. I will have to say though, I kind of, since I was never really a baseball or basketball guy, obviously now Marquette is my basketball school, and I'm probably going to end up picking the Bucks as my NBA team, and I have inherited the Braves as my MLB team. So I'm all over the map now with all four of my major league sports. So.
You're a Cardinals fan. We all know that.
No, I am not.
I mean, the Braves aren't a bad team to pick for anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. They're the Bucks. That's why I picked them. All right. We have
I definitely want to come up and go to a Bucks game.
We have an action-packed show here for this Friday, the last Friday before the NFL draft. We are 6 days away, boys. Have some college news. There's one thing to go there. Massive trade happened about 30 minutes before the show here, 45 minutes. And we will also preview all 8 of the FCS first round matchups, which I am so hyped for. Just made the parlay literally minutes before the show, maybe even 1 minute before the show. So, let's get it started. All right. So, before we get into the massive trade here, there was one piece of NCAA news this week. The overtime procedure has changed in college, just slightly. So it used to be you would, each team would get a possession in first overtime, same thing in the second overtime. And then if each team if you scored in the third overtime a touchdown, you had to go for 2. And then it changed to now third overtime, you're not going to get a possession. You just get one play from the 2-point line, which I think is the 3-yard line, and you go 2 points for 2 points every time. So now that's changed. They moved that up now. Now it's in the second overtime. So you're only going to get max of 1 possession in the first overtime to actually score a touchdown. Second overtime now, it's just going to be, all right, 1 play from the 3-yard line. Go ahead. And it's going to be 2-point plays from there on out, which I was intrigued. I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, well, how does that change spreads now? I feel like there's going to be a lot more 1.5 points out there for games that are considered close.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know. I don't like the overtime rules for that. Like I'm a big believer in just let them play the game. I don't care about like pace of play or anything like that. I mean, it's the same issue with baseball, how they're starting the extra innings with a runner on second base. I don't care how quickly they score or whatever. I want them to play the game the right way and like go for touchdowns instead of going for those short field kind of plays there at the end.
I agree with the baseball thing. I think that's outrageous. The only thing that I'm going to say about college is at least that you're always going to have a winner and loser, and the NFL is behind times in that. But I would just rather them play from like they have. I think they start at the 25-yard line and you try to score in the first overtime.
Yep.
And then if you want to, I think they should do that in the second overtime to have the ball from the 25. And if you do score, you have to go for 2 or whatnot. I didn't think it have to be changed so drastically, if that makes sense. But it's going to be must-see TV because there's going to be a winner and a loser. I still don't understand what the NFL is doing. Like, we got to stop having ties. It's 2021.
See,
This is not a communist country.
I think moving the
That's a joke. That's a joke. I admit that.
I think alternating the 2-point conversions, starting with the second overtime, personally, I feel like that's going to make games go longer.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, teams have probably 5 or 6 plays that are 2-point plays per game that you can need to, if you need to convert a 2-pointer, you have this set of plays in your playbook. So and either they're going to keep converting them, or the defense is going to keep stopping them. I can see it going both ways.
They the whole rules. I read the whole rule thing on it, and they were like, "We believe this is better for player safety." And I mean, there's an argument in itself that you could say yes or no on that. Let's say you play 2 overtimes and you have to score in the third one, or you don't, or people are tired. I'm still waiting for someone to go, all right, we're going to have a kicker shootout. We're going to start at the 30-yard line, and you got to go kick for kick for kick, and whoever can kick the longest, I'm waiting. One day someone's going to do that. Can you imagine?
Honestly, I think that'd be kind of fun to see, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that 2 things from our perspective as sports managers is, 1, I think it would be fun to see, and 2, can you imagine the betting on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this whole overtime thing, as most people know, stems from a game a couple years ago when Texas A&M and it was LSU, I believe, went to 7 overtimes.
It was like 72-71 score or something.
And I thought that was fantastic. I was like, oh my God, and there was a couple highlight touchdown catches for Texas A&M in that game that kept the game going. And I thought it was great. I thought it was great for TV too, but apparently not.
I mean, like you said though, the whole thing stems from player safety. So 7 overtimes, I mean, that's not going to happen a lot, obviously.
Right.
But 7 overtimes is what? Almost 2 full extra games, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess in that sense it makes sense, but also, like you said earlier, I feel like this 2-point conversion thing might make the games go longer because I feel like they're going to score a lot more often.
Yeah, I mean, I guess many of the games do end in the first overtime because teams are just tired of it, and regardless, if the first team scores a touchdown, gets the extra point, most often, I mean, I think seeing now is that teams are like, all right, we're just going to go for the win. We're going to go for 2 when we score and not have the opportunity to go to second overtime. So.
And you know what? Some of my argument with just sports in general, right? Like, I know that less and less people are consuming them in ways that, us on this podcast like to watch sports as a authentic sports person. But the times that people do tune in, like they'll be flipping through a channel. Oh my gosh, it's overtime. Let's watch. Mm-hmm. I don't think the overtime or the extra inning baseball is really where people are like, we need to put a person on second base, or we need to switch these rules. It's how do you get them to stay tuned from the first inning through, the 7th inning and the first quarter all the way to overtime.
Definitely. All right. I did not think that conversation was going to go that long, but I like the debates. All right. Bombshell. Let's get to it here. Orlando Brown is gone.
That's a lot of draft picks.
The Kansas City Chiefs have traded their first-round pick, number 31 overall, their third-round pick, number 94, fourth-rounder, number 136, all this year, and their 2022 fifth-round pick to the Baltimore Ravens to acquire left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. and the Ravens' 58th overall pick in the second round, along with their 2022 sixth-round pick. What Ian Rappaport said was essentially all the picks end up equating to a second-round pick. actually he put an exact number on the pick as well, which was number 45. So you get Orlando Brown for number 45th overall.
I think, I mean, you got your quarterback, right? And we know that they don't want him to be throwing on his side and on his back. I mean, he was in the Super Bowl. And when you look at the other pit swaps, you know, Stafford and Goff and all these, I think the Chiefs did pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a second-round pick back.
I think the biggest thing why this wasn't more for a franchise left tackle was the contract, because
Right.
Orlando Brown is only signed for one more year off his rookie deal. Chiefs have not signed him to a new extension yet. And also, I don't think the Ravens were necessarily looking for a blockbuster. I think they wanted that first round pick regardless of who was going to trade for him, as well as a second premium pick like they got in the third round pick. Obviously, they had to send one back in the second rounder, but it's also reported that the Ravens are most likely going to sign Alejandro Villanueva.
Right, I just read that.
To fill in for him at right tackle there. So they get Ronnie Stanley back off an injury as well at left tackle. So they have their plan in Baltimore.
I think if you look at it too, the Ravens have 9 picks and 6 in the first 4 rounds. So this could be, you know, a year that they really find the few people, whether it's a downfield threat or whatnot. It could really shape the organization around Lamar Jackson moving forward.
Yeah, I find this trade to be kind of interesting for a few reasons. I mean, obviously Orlando Brown's one of the better tackles in the league right now, but kind of like what you said, Rusty, about the contract. It's only a 1-year deal, and then you're going to have to pay him a lot of money probably if you want to keep him. If I were the Chiefs, I don't know. I know that, like I said, I know Orlando Brown's a good tackle. I know he's established or whatnot, but I might have tried to roll the dice with somebody like Tevin Jenkins or something at the end of the first round. So that way you get 5 years with him on a rookie contract rather than have to pay big money for Orlando Brown.
Well, the thought process is that after Sewell and Slater, a lot of teams don't think there are any day one starters at tackle, especially left tackle. The majority of the guys after those top 2 are considered most likely starters at right tackle, but there's not many high-end left tackle prospects after Sewell and Slater. So they rolled the dice and got and gave what the Ravens wanted for a known commodity. This guy's a Pro Bowler at right and left tackle for the Ravens throughout his first 4 years. So that's why they got the known commodity. Yeah, they're gonna have to pay probably $20 million a year for him if they do get an extension done. I could see this going to a franchise tag situation next season, until they can get a deal done in the offseason next year. But yeah, that's the reason.
Win now mode.
Because it also sets up interesting free agencies in the next couple of years too, with their big threat weapons like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill too. Because I don't know, they already have the big contract with Mahomes, and if they're going to end up paying Orlando Brown, they're not going to be able to pay somebody.
Well, Mahomes' deal is very, very good for the team. So that's all I will say on that front. Yeah, Brown's contract is going to be the one that's going to hurt their cap. Mahomes' contract, I highly doubt it ever really is a negative factor on the cap throughout its entirety. Obviously, we know he will probably not make it the entirety. He will probably sign a new deal.
Mhm.
I would probably say halfway through, if not sooner.
Yeah.
All right. That is big news for today. There is other news, though, however. So let's talk about the draft here on Thursday night. Goodell's going to be there, and he will be able to hug the draftees are in attendance. It was confirmed that he is vaccinated, and the draftees will be able to, celebrate unscripted for a little bit, not as long as they used to do it, but they can still give Goodell a hug, shake his hand, whatever, do a little dance, and whatever. So.
Yeah, I mean, as silly as that sounds, I'm glad that that's going to be back this year. Obviously, they did a great job last year with the situation and the conditions and everything that they had, but the in-person reactions of the players on stage and all that was severely missed last year. So I'm glad that that's going to be back.
Yeah, definitely. And to go along with that, the draft area in total in Cleveland, 2.5 million square feet at the draft for Cleveland there. And I mean, I don't know if y'all have seen the pictures of their where the draft stage is going to be, the dome thing on the waterfront of Lake Erie there. Dude, they said they're going to have LED lights on underneath the dome. It should look very cool. They have a lot of power that needs to be going to that part of Cleveland in 3 days. So, and over those 3 days, so the draft is going to be open for 10 hours each day, all 3 days of the draft. And it said they're going to let in 50,000 total people each day. So I think that's a good number.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anywhere that's held 50,000 people since COVID started.
Well, I think the Texas sports stadiums hold more than that.
Yeah, I mean, most NFL stadiums, or there's a lot of NFL stadiums that hold more than 50,000. But I'm just saying that's a pretty good crowd for a kind of world that's, I would say, almost halfway back to normal.
Yeah.
So will be great to see 50,000 fans booing Roger Goodell as he walks out on opening night on Thursday. Also with the draft here, the NFL announced that 13 total players are going to attend the first round there. They are quarterbacks Mac Jones, Trey Lance, and Zach Wilson. Wide receivers Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. The theme of these 13 players, a lot of Alabama, by the way. Tight end Kyle Pitts. Offensive lineman Rashawn Slater. Defensive lineman Christian Barmore. Edge rusher Gregory Rousseau. Linebacker Micah Parsons. And corners Caleb Farley and Patrick Surtain.
So it sounds like a lot of those names are expected to go in the top half of the first round there. But a couple of the guys that kind of stood out to me there was Gregory Rousseau, who there's a chance he doesn't go in day one, so he might be sitting there by himself by the end of the night. And the other guy I think is kind of a wild card is Christian Barmore.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect him to go on Thursday night, but I don't really know where exactly.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard it the last couple of days there that the line class is not that great this year in terms of, overall elite players. So All right, that's it for draft talk. Now some NFL general stuff here. We have a date. We have a date for the NFL schedule release. It will be May 12th at 8 p.m. on NFL Network. I'm sure ESPN will have a show too, but I just watch NFL Network for most of my NFL coverage. But yeah, May 12th cannot come soon enough. Obviously, we have the draft before that, which I'm excited about. But it's always interesting the draft, and then get to see what rookies are playing against each other. So, and when. Some NFL rule changes here for the preseason. They approved the elimination of overtime in the preseason, so we will have ties most likely in the preseason. In the now abbreviated preseason, only 3 games instead of 4. So I know a lot of people wanted that to happen. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a so-so thing there because, I mean, with the elimination of that 4th game, I feel like you need those extra few minutes in overtime if it gets to that to evaluate a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I guess overtime, their thought process is overtime doesn't really last that long anyway, most of the time, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Goes back to that dang player safety stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. From a coaching perspective, I know you want to win every game regardless of whether it counts or not, right, Mark?
100%.
So yeah, and they do keep records of preseason records. It's not like the record just goes away. There is a preseason record, but like the Ravens a couple of years ago when they had won like 10, 12 straight preseason games. It's just ridiculous. Another change that was more in the news this week there for the NFL, there was a jersey number rule change here. So everyone except offensive linemen can now wear single digits. Offensive and defensive linemen. Yeah, those are the only two spots that can't wear single digit numbers. So I don't know. I don't know how many guys are actually going to change though. I mean, we do see a lot of guys coming from college that play skill positions that wear single digits, and secondary guys as well. Even a few defensive linemen wear single digits, but obviously they can't wear that. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to necessarily affect the current NFL players. I mean, a few might change, but I think it'll be more the players coming in now. They'll keep their college numbers and stuff. And I mean, I think it'll take like a couple years to actually see the single digit numbers or like the different numbers actually make an impact in those other positions.
I know one person that hates it. The GOAT himself.
Oh yeah.
Tom
The GOAT
Brady.
himself.
Tom Brady.
He doesn't know who he's going to be throwing to. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I kind of don't like it either. I mean, I always liked having quarterbacks be the only quarterbacks and kickers, punters being the only ones that were singles. And the thing is though, in the preseason, receivers would wear single digit numbers. I remember in the preseason, Victor Cruz, he wore number 5, I believe it was, for like 2 straight preseasons before he really made an impact on the Giants roster. But and then in the regular season, he'd wear number 80. So I don't know. The biggest guy that I saw, people talking about was Derrick Henry going back to his Alabama number 2. I don't know. I still think he looks pretty good in 22, but
yeah. I mean, the other thing too, with the jersey number changes for any active player now that changes their number. If you have a old jersey, you said that you were a fan of them before they changed their number, at least. That's the only thing that I see as a benefit for that. Otherwise, you're gonna have to buy a new jersey if you want their current number.
Yeah. More money for the NFL, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Actually, we're gonna go back to some draft stuff. But so QB6, there's a lot of speculation who the next guy is after the top 5 quarterbacks. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, in whatever order those guys go. And the speculation has been between 3 guys: Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, Kyle Trask. Everyone who watches the show already knows who I would pick. But
Mm-hmm. And I'm on that train too. I think he's clearly the best of those 3.
But from what I've heard now, it's looking like Kellen Mond or Davis Mills will be the next one selected, in presumably the second round. So we'll have to see. Obviously, wait till day 2 of the draft to see which quarterback goes first. But actually, I've heard that Kellen Mond could even sneak into the first. Again, have to wait and see. It's just speculation, but that's what we're hearing. Also, couple teams that have been talked about moving back in the draft. First one, the Giants at number 11. Dave Gettleman has never traded back in the draft. He's traded up, but he's never traded back. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they'd want to trade back though, because they're in a perfect position. I mean, obviously we kind of mentioned before about the Panthers possibly going after Rashawn Slater, but if they don't go, if they can't get Rashawn Slater, they can get one of the top receivers or something like that. So I don't know. I like them at 11 where they are.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned it. Now the other team that we're talking about is the Panthers at number 8, and you kind of foreshadowed there my thoughts. I think they need to stick there at 8, get whatever tackle falls to them, and just pray that no one trades in front of them for one of the 2 tackles, which I don't think would happen. All
I
right.
don't know. I mean, you could get it. How many more picks can you get? You know?
Yeah. Sure.
I like to stockpile picks. I mean, they traded for Darnold.
The only thing I'll say with the Panthers, though, which makes sense for them to trade back, is if someone wants to come up in front of the Broncos for a quarterback, that would be the only scenario I could see the Panthers getting a haul that they couldn't refuse, especially with who the teams are that need quarterbacks still, will have to come a long way. You know,
Yeah.
Patriots at 15, that's 7 spots. You got the Bears at 20, that's 12. Washington at 21, 13 spots up. You're going to pay at least a first-round pick next year, your first-round pick this year, and probably a second-round pick next year as well when it comes to the Bears and Washington. Definitely, I think it'd be just probably a first-rounder and a mid-round pick, maybe another pick for the Patriots to come up 7 for 15. But, yeah, that would be the only way that I could see them getting a big enough haul that we're like, all right, we'll pass on the tackle that we want to get all these picks for next year and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you mentioned the Broncos, though, because there was speculation a couple weeks ago that the Falcons were still trying to trade back at number 4. And I've been a big believer that the Broncos might be that team to move up to 4. So, I mean, we have to see what happens with that, too. But I don't know.
Draft starts at 3, though, Chris. Who are the Niners taking? That's what everyone wants to know. All right. So the Steelers, they are the epitome of sustainability and consistency. They signed head coach Mike Tomlin for another 3 years. He's now signed through 2024. He will be the man to lead them through the quarterback transition away from Ben Roethlisberger as he presumably retires after this year. And they have now only had 3 coaches since when? Wasn't it the merger? Haven't they had only 3
Something
coaches?
like that.
Merger? Yeah.
Something ridiculous like that.
Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and now Mike Tomlin. He's going into his, I think this year's 14 or 15. So, yeah. Brought them
As a coach, I've always admired them. You know, they stuck by Cowher. You know, he didn't get to his Super Bowl until he was what? I don't want to have the wrong. I think it was his 19th season or won it in his 19th season, something like that. But they were always right there. You know what I mean? And you see, even on the college level and pros level, bouncing coaches and bouncing around these coaches, and it's these organizations don't sustain and they don't win, but the Steelers do, and they keep it consistent. I love it.
Yeah. And it's definitely been tough. You know, he's changed coordinators a couple times, especially offensive coordinator. But yeah, gotten through it and have stayed, keep winning divisions. They've won the division in half of his season. He's won 7 AFC North division titles in 14 years.
I find it funny that if you put both of these coaches' faces, like covered them up and put their records right by each other, and how many Super Bowls that they've won, and if you said Sean Payton, people will be like, no way, because Tomlin doesn't get that type of love affair. Yeah. But essentially, they almost mirror each other.
Yeah. And I had another thing in my head, and it just went away. So, but yeah, like I said, 7 AFC North division titles in 14 seasons. Oh, that's what I would have. Has never had a losing record either. So that was Didi Hinkleballa's thing on Twitter when there was some Steelers fans or whoever that were questioning him getting signed for another 3 years when the team, you know, has been so-so the last couple of years. But she was like, well, would you rather have a couple losing seasons for the opportunity to have a Super Bowl win, or would you rather be consistently there and consistently in the playoffs, but maybe not winning Super Bowls? So that's the question. And I
think Tomlin is the perfect coach, though, for whatever quarterback they do end up picking as the successor for Big Ben, to kind of help him start his NFL career.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially his 2019 job was the best season he's ever had. Steelers went 8-8 with Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph. I think there was someone else too that played. I don't know why. I don't think Josh Dobbs was on the Jaguars that year. So yeah, I don't remember who else played. There was another quarterback though, pretty sure. Other than Ben.
I think so too. I can't remember who though.
Anyway. All right. We had two more retirements this week. First one, former Broncos safety TJ Ward has retired. Got drafted in the second round by the Browns in 2010, played for them from 2010 to 2013. Went to the Broncos from 2014 to 16, was a member of the no-fly zone, winning Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos and Peyton Manning. And then played for the Bucks in 2017, was out of football for 2 years. Came back, never played for the Cardinals this year, but was on their practice squad for a couple weeks in October. But yeah, TJ Ward. I remember him specifically as probably one of the hardest hitting safeties of the 2010s there.
Yep. He's a throwback safety.
Yeah. Also retiring, probably player more people know than TJ Ward, Jordan Reed, 49ers tight end. Jordan Reed had his career was a shame, was in Washington for the majority of had two pretty solid seasons with the Niners to end his career there. But yeah, I mean, you just think of what Jordan Reed would have been had he been healthy his entire career,
Gosh.
Yeah, he would have definitely been in the conversation for the best tight end in the league over the last decade, but the injuries he couldn't get past them. And yeah, I'm honestly surprised he lasted as long as he did in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
Just sucks to see it go down that way,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but luckily, I mean, he went out how he wanted to. He went out healthy with the 49ers and played pretty well with them. So, all right. The Browns, they have exercised the fifth-year options for quarterback Baker Mayfield and corner Denzel Ward, both drafted in the top 5 in 2018. Baker number 1, Denzel Ward number 4 overall that year. Andrew Berry, their GM there in Cleveland, said it doesn't have a timetable for when they're going to get Baker's deal done, but it will get done. Everyone knows it's going to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, both those guys for the Browns deserve another contract with Cleveland. I remember back when they did that draft, obviously they shocked everybody by picking Baker Mayfield first overall. And then when they picked Denzel Ward, I think a lot of people were surprised with that pick too. I forget who the pick was supposed to be for them instead of Ward. Was Bradley Chubb? Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah. And so when they went with Ward, everybody was shocked. But both of those picks so far have worked out for them. So it's good scouting and good drafting by the Browns there.
Or I think they were hoping that someone wasn't going to take. They were hoping the Giants weren't going to take Saquon at 2.
Yeah.
They would have got Saquon at 4, which when that draft was happening in 2018, I was like, well, my thought was Saquon Barkley is the best player in this draft. I thought Saquon should have went number 1, and then they could have got their quarterback at 4. But would that have changed for the Jets at 3, though? Would they have taken Baker instead? That would have been the
no, because I don't think so though. Because from what I heard, Sam Darnold was their number 1 quarterback, so they were happy that Darnold fell to them. So the Browns could have still gotten Baker at 4, but like I said, it so far has worked out for them. So
would have been interesting to see who the Giants would have taken at 2 with Saquon off the board and still having Eli Manning there in 2018. So. All right. Mark, your Rams. Corner Darius Williams. He signed his first round restricted free agent tender there. So no one will be offering the Rams a first round pick for Mr. Williams.
Would have been a first round pick for the first time in a while. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Les doesn't like his first rounders. He likes to get players instead of.
Gosh. You're going to have to play some defense in that league, though. Tough division, I should say.
Yeah. And Darius Williams, blossoming young player. So. Also in restricted free agent news, the Cowboys, they re-signed restricted free agent defensive lineman Antoine Woods, another young guy that has played pretty well for Dallas in a limited role far throughout his career.
Mm-hmm.
All right, some other re-signings here. A couple quarterbacks. Bucks, they re-signed quarterback Ryan Griffin, presumably going to be Brady's backup this year because Blaine Gabbert remains unsigned. So personally, I would, if I was the Bucks, I mean, I would want to re-sign Blaine Gabbert over Ryan Griffin, but because I mean, we saw Blaine play. I believe he played in Week 17, and played pretty well. So. Also,
yeah, he's a good backup quarterback to have. I think he might be the best on the market right now. So any team that needs a backup, he's a good one to go after.
Chris, we keep getting in this conversation, dude, and you still you never give my guy RG3 a shout out. I'm always the person that has to give RG3 the shout out.
It's not that I don't like RG3. I just think he's a very system-driven quarterback. I think he needs to be in a system similar to Baltimore that he just was in, that has that kind of style of quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just want to be Chase Daniels and make that much money and only play in a handful of games.
Well, he definitely, coaxed the Eagles out of some millions there. I was just thinking about RG3. Is Miami have a backup? I can't think of who their backup is.
They got Jacoby Brissett.
Oh,
I think.
He's a pretty reliable backup himself, man.
You're right. Thought maybe RG3. You thought, bro. Also, re-signing your guy, Chris. Your man, the Seahawks, they re-signed Russ's backup, Geno Smith. He is still in the league. He is still alive, people. He is still in the league.
He's a Seahawk lifer now.
I mean, that was another spot where RG3 could have gone. But when you started off with your guy in Seattle, my mind went to Jamal Adams. I was like, what, they gave him a new deal? But I didn't think you were going to be that nonchalant about that. So I got a little nervous there for a second. But, yeah, Geno Smith, I mean, it is what it is with him.
EK. Well, we'll forever be remembered. EK and Impale. I don't remember if that's how you actually say it.
The recent history of Jets quarterbacks, they've all been known for like the worst things possible. Sanchez with the butt fumble, him with that punch, Sam with seeing ghosts. Let's just see what Zach Wilson or whoever they end up taking it to. Let's see what their thing that they're going to be remembered for is.
Yeah, I don't think Zach Wilson's that funny. All right. Another re-signing here. The Bears, they re-signed safety Tashawn Gibson Sr. to a 1-year deal. Very solid signing there. He has played well since coming over to Chicago from Cleveland, I believe. I believe he got drafted by Jacksonville, got traded to Cleveland, and then signed with the Bears. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go free agent signings here. The Panthers, they signed Titans defensive tackle Daquan Jones to a 1-year, $4.5 million fully guaranteed deal here. I'm not sure if it's actually 4.5 because Ian Rappaport originally put 4.5 in a tweet, and then he put out another tweet that said 4.05. So there may or may not be $450,000 extra. So, but yeah, this was a really great deal regardless. Four plus million for Daquan Jones at this point of the offseason was very solid for him, and also the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers, that was one of their weakest areas, was defensive tackle. Obviously, letting go kick was short. They do have Derek Brown there, but they had a void beside Derek Brown. So I think Daquan Jones will fill in admirably. Another signing here, a couple signings, actually 3 signings by the Niners here. They were pretty busy this week. They signed both of the Raiders cast-offs, the guys they waived the other week. So they signed both D-end Arden Key and D-tackle Mo Hurst from the Raiders, both on 1-year deals there. And the Niners defensive line just keeps getting stronger. What is new?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys are 2 guys that were billed as very solid prospects coming out. Arden Key, a 2nd rounder, Mo Hurst, a 5th rounder. That's because of the lingering heart concerns that he had coming into the league. So, but yeah, low risk, high reward for the Niners. Just keep restocking the cupboard at that defensive line.
Oh,
yeah.
Got to get pressure on the quarterbacks.
This is true. This is how you win championships. We saw that. Also, with the Niners, they have their backup, their most likely primary backup to Raheem Mostert. Their one Wayne Gallman from the Giants. He was signed. We already said he visited there last week. But yeah, he is now an official San Francisco 49er, Chris.
Good red zone running back. Put the ball in his hands, get you a touchdown around the goal line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's filled in nicely when Saquon's not there, so that's a good pickup for them.
Yeah, he definitely he kind of surprised me with the season he had last year once Saquon went down. So after everyone thought Devontae Freeman signing was going to be the best thing ever, and everyone picked him up in fantasy, and then Devontae Freeman sucked. I think that was one of the funniest things in fantasy football last year.
I just saw a whole one.
Mm-hmm.
From who? Please say Max. Please say Max Homa. I have him, and I forget who his partner is. And I need them to win the entire lyric. I also have another pair as well that is in for a win bet. So, all right. So the Dolphins getting some offensive line help here. They signed Ravens offensive lineman DJ Fluker. Played very well for the Ravens in his time in Baltimore. So yeah, I think possibly. I mean, I don't have the Dolphins roster depth chart up on my phone right now, but DJ Fluker is possibly a starter at guard right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't think of. Yeah, I can't think of who their guards are right now, but Fluker, I think, would be one of the starters going in.
Jesse Davis, I believe, is still one of their starters, as far as I know. The Seahawks They got some secondary help there. They signed corner Pierre Desir. I remember he was with the Colts. Chris, was he a Jet?
Yep.
Desir?
Yeah, the Jets traded like a 7th rounder for him, I think.
Okay, that's why
And he was with them this year, and then they cut him because he was terrible.
Well, he was good with the Colts when I remember him with the Colts. So I don't know. The Seahawks need all the help they can get at the corner position with Shaq Griffin gone, Quentin Dunbar gone. So yeah, they need all the help they can get.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last one here. This one's for Mark. His Rams.
Oh, it's for me.
His Rams. Y'all got a punter, dude.
We always have a punter.
They signed Bills punter Corey Bjorkquist, who was pretty solid for the Bills as far as the punts that I remember from him anyways.
Not mad about that. Like I've always said, the game of football is position. So solid punter, good pickup.
Well, I don't know. They don't have John Fossil anymore. I would think John Fossil, but
he's a good special teams coach.
But he's with McCarthy in Dallas, so All right, that is all the news we have. I didn't see anything new on the Twitter feed, so yeah, let's roll on. All right, here we go. This is the moment that I've been waiting for the entire show. FCS first round. Here we go. Matchup.
Let's get it on.
1. That is not matchup number 1. This is matchup number 1 here. Number 10, Monmouth. Number 2 is Sam Houston State. This is I don't like this game. I really don't. I don't think it's going to be, Monmouth played very well. There are 3 games, but again, it's only 3 games. I think Sam Houston with 6 games like more. Sam Houston has shown that they can play close games. They played a couple of them against Northwestern State, as well as they played another close one. I'm just blanking on who they played. I believe McNeese State, they played close as well because it was at McNeese. Let me just check for a second here. Yes, McNeese State was a 14-point game. But yeah, I mean, they've scored. They're a high-scoring team, and if it gets into a shootout, I don't think there's any way that Monmouth can stick with them. I shouldn't really say that, though, because in their 3 games, Monmouth has scored 35, 48, and 42. But against much less competition, I would think Charleston Southern, Gardner Webb are not that good. Did surprise us in the Big South Championship game against Kennesaw State, where they just absolutely rolled Kennesaw 42-17. But again, I think Sam Houston played against a lot better competition in the Southland Conference, and I don't think they would have any issue in this one. That is why they are my first leg of my parlay for the FCS this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sam Houston has this one in the bag. Regardless of how Monmouth has played, you already hit on pretty much all the points. I expect them to win by at least 10. I think that Sam Houston does cover that spread.
The over-under for this one here is 61.5. I am taking the over. It's not in the parlay, but I am taking the over.
Could be a shootout. Could be fun.
Yeah. But the one thing, Sam Houston's defense has played very well the last 3 weeks. Especially we saw it against Incarnate Word last weekend. They're starting to get it together and at the perfect time going into the playoffs. All the first round games are going to be broadcast on ESPN3 this weekend, so I will not keep saying ESPN3. Just put that in your head that all the games are going to be on ESPN3. But this one, first round here at noon tomorrow. It was very interesting when I was writing the script and had to put the game times. Because I am in Milwaukee, it is in the central time zone, and ESPN automatically updates the times where you're at in the country or in the world. So I was like, all right, in my mind, whatever it says on ESPN, just add an hour on to it for the Eastern time zone. So, all right, second game here. The first four games consist of the only four seeds that were given seedings for the FCS playoffs. That's why I have the NO.2 instead of Sam Houston's actual rank in the top 25. But we will move on here. Second one, number 11 VMI at number 3 James Madison. Dukes have been
VMI.
The Dukes have been the number 1 team in the country for the majority of the season. They are the number 3 seed here in the FCS playoffs. This one is going to be a little tough. When I was making my parlay, I was thinking VMI plus 14.5. The Keydets have been a tough out this year. Surprising everyone and winning the SoCon, the Southern Conference there.
That's a big, that was a, yeah.
But I just cannot.
It's a big money line.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I think too highly of the Dukes, and James Madison has been fantastic, like I said.
They're always tough. You know, they've been in the national championship. I know their coach left for East Carolina. And VMI really did surprise the SoCon. SoCon was kind of all weird in itself. Like Mercer started out of the gate, you know, kind of stumbling, and then went on a winning streak in that conference as well. So I actually think the SoCon was a little bit better top to bottom than a lot of people thought. So I think VMI is a little weathered. I would bet JMU, but I don't know that they're going to cover 14.5. It may be a touchdown. It may be 10 points.
Yeah,
I think that VMI, like you guys have said, they've had a great season, and I don't like that 14.5. I think that it'll be a closer game than that.
Yeah, I just think James Madison's last game really told us something. Beating Richmond 23-6 as the toughest opponent in the Colonial, you know, that was their other than Delaware, who James Madison didn't play. Richmond was the toughest in-division opponent that they could have played this season. And they beat them handily, like I said, 23-6. So
yeah,
we'll have to see. I think this one could be a pretty good game.
I might be eating my words Monday, and JMU blows them out. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, they have blown people out, but not good teams like VMI. So the over-under for this one here is 45.5, a little lower. It'll be close. That's the thing, though, like Mark just said. Will JMU just take over and just keep scoring? Or will VMI's defense come to play and turn Cole Johnson over a couple times?
I don't know. I think I'd go the under in this one.
All right. Next game here. Davidson at number 4 seed Jacksonville State. Davidson, why am I blanking on the conference champions that they are from? Give me a sec. I know it's going to come to me. Or it's going to come to me when I look at my phone. One of the two. The Pioneer League. That's right. Davidson out of the Pioneer League.
I know their basketball league, but I didn't remember their football.
Yeah, the Pioneer League, Davidson. Yeah, it's going to be a tough day for Davidson. Zion Webb, Uriah West, Josh Samuel, they're going to come to play. This offense for Jacksonville has been great. Defense has also played very well. JSU, it'll be close, but I think they do cover.
I heard, they called Steph Curry to see if he, had any advice for him to win this game, and he said, "Well, it doesn't involve 3-pointers, so I can't give you any advice."
I mean, technically it does. Field goal to 3-point.
No, I'm kidding. That's Davidson's claim to fame, though.
Yeah.
Steph Curry.
Yeah. But wait, what was Jacksonville's record in the spring here?
They were 7-0, I believe.
7-0, or did they lose one? Did they lose one?
Yeah, no, you're right. They did lose one.
Yeah.
Give me a sec.
Like third or fourth game, maybe?
Yeah, they went 3-1 in the fall. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
6-1. 6-1 in the spring.
Huh.
Their loss being to Austin P.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, this game, Davidson, if they win, I think this will be the biggest upset pretty much of the entire season so far.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Jacksonville State wins this one. But that line, or the over under, or no, yeah, I'm sorry, the line, that is what I was talking about. The line, I don't know, 21, no matter what teams are playing, just always seems very high to me.
Especially in the playoffs, I get it. But
yeah.
I still think Jacksonville State's too good that they will cover 21. Again, not in the parlay, just my thoughts. But I think Jacksonville State also had 2 weeks to rest. Actually, technically, Davidson did too because their game with Stetson last week got canceled. So they've had 2 weeks as well. But Jacksonville State's last game against Murray State, I think, really showed us something. 28-14 was that final there. And Murray State, I thought, was a very good team this spring. So, yeah, I like Jacksonville State and the Gamecocks. Over under, we keep going lower here. 42.5 for this one. Like I said, most of the scoring is probably going to be by the Gamecocks. So 42.5 might be hard to get.
I was going to say, that seems like a very low over under.
For that spread. For that
is.
spread. Yeah, I'm with Chris on that. That's a low.
So y'all are going over there?
Well, I didn't say that, but it still.
I don't know if it's going to be
low.
over. I just don't know if Jacksonville State will cover that 21. If they cover the 21, I think it'll be over.
I agree. I do agree. Because I don't know how much Davidson can score. So against the Gamecocks defense. So
I guess they could win 21-7. I mean, and cover.
They wouldn't cover. Oh, Davidson.
No, I mean, not 21-7. Sorry, 28-7 or something like that. 31-7.
Yeah, in my mind, for some reason, I have a push. Actually, 35-14, but I don't know if Davidson will score 14 though.
Yeah. It just that is a big spread for that low of a.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Moving along here. Let's go to the number 1 overall seed. Holy Cross at number 1, South Dakota State. The surprise number 1 overall seed, South Dakota State. They have the Dakota marker in tow. They beat Goliath last week in North Dakota State in Fargo at the Fargo Dome. They're hosting home playoffs for as long as they can win. The road to the FCS championship goes through South Dakota State right now.
Jackrabbits!
I would say their city, but I don't actually know where South Dakota State's at. So North Dakota State's really the only one I know, like exactly Fargo, but yeah, I love Jacks.
Yeah,
there's not. You know how some teams have like hangovers after beating Goliath and they're trying to climb that mountaintop. Holy Cross is coming all the way from the Northeast, and there's no game in this.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to move on in round one.
Yeah, this, even though it's a gigantic spread there with 24, I think that this one covers.
I was
thinking that too.
I was close to putting this in the parlay. I just could not bring myself to do it. I love everything about the Jacks, dude. Mark Gronowski, freshman quarterback there. They also have the Yankee brothers at wide receiver. You know, their defense is not the best. But they do get the job done, and their offense has the capability to outscore people. So the rushing ability of Mark Gronowski, I think, has really won them a lot of their games. So that's what I'm believing in. I'm believing in the young kid at South Dakota State at quarterback, just hoping that he can eliminate the pressure of being the number one seed.
Now that we've all got on this bandwagon, usually when we do that, we show up on Monday and we're like, man, they proved us wrong.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
Because usually in the FCS playoffs, there's 24 teams. The top 8 get buys normally in the FCS playoffs. I would equate this to a buy, though. Holy Cross played 3 games in the Patriot League. Patriot League was not very good this year. They beat Bucknell, and the second best team in the Patriot this spring was Lafayette, I believe, if I'm right. Yeah,
Lafayette College.
Lafayette and Fordham were both 2-1. Whoop-de-doo. Well, yeah, I mean they crushed Lehigh week 1, and Lehigh finished 0-3. They beat Buck. They crushed everyone pretty much. Fordham they beat by 10, who was the best team they played. Buck now they destroyed by 23 points last week. So, and Buck now sitting at 2-2. So, yeah, not worried about this one for the Jacks. Over under here is 45. Let's cover it for the Jacks themselves. Get the over with that.
Yeah.
I forgot to say the times on the other 2 games here. VMI James Madison, that one is 2:00. Same thing for Davidson Jacksonville State. This one is at 3:00 tomorrow. All right, now that we're done with the top 4 the 4 seeds, let's go to the best game of the weekend. I am very hyped for this game. It is a top 10 matchup. Number 9, Eastern Washington. The Eagles head into the Fargo Dome to take on number 6, North Dakota State, coming off the loss to South Dakota State last week.
That's going to be the toughest number 6 seed that you've ever seen.
Now Eastern's coming off a 2-week rest. So
they can score.
Does North Dakota State come in a little tired from playing, South Dakota State last week and losing?
Or are they going to be hungry?
Right. That's the issue. Fargo Dome's hard to play at. I'm waiting for you guys to go, though, before I tell you my pick and what I have in the parlay.
I was just going to say, I think it really depends on the quarterback play for North Dakota. Because, Rusty, you already know because you've been trashing him all season.
That you
But-
took the words right out of my mouth. Keep going.
But yeah, depending on how he or whatever quarterback they throw out there plays, I think that's the biggest X factor in this game.
That's the thing. Which quarterback's going to play? Because like we saw last week against South Dakota State, Zeb Nolan threw one pass. Didn't see him the rest of the game. I don't know if he got hurt or what. Cam Miller has easily been more effective in the amount of time that he has played this season every time he's got on the field. So if they actually have started listening to me,
What's
would start Cam Miller.
Isn't Eastern Washington the one that puts up a lot of points?
Yes.
I know that when Mike Leach was at Washington State, but there was like an article about how both of the schools like were just pass happy and scored a bunch of points.
There's only been one game they scored under 30. That was week 1.
I know the Fargo Dome is hard to play in, but if it becomes a shootout, the question becomes, can the quarterback play of North Dakota State keep up with the scoring?
Yeah. That week 1 loss to Idaho, 28-21, was their only game under 30 this year. That also comes into play, though, the competition. North Dakota State, Missouri Valley is by far the best conference in the SEC.
Oh, yes.
Coming from the Big Sky as an at-large bid for Eastern Washington, they didn't play the best team, presumably the best team in the Big Sky Conference champion in Weber State. They didn't play them. They did, however, play probably the third best team, UC Davis. They beat them by 10 points, 32-22. Everyone else, they pretty much – actually, it was close games. For the second time they played Idaho, they only beat them by 7. Barely beat Idaho State by 4. That was a 46-42 shootout. But, yeah, you're right, though, Mark. This is kind of going back to every time we had a UNI game this season, I was like, any team that's playing UNI, if you score over 21 points, they won't be able to win. It held true. It held true for most of UNI's games. I think everyone except like one. This is the same thing, though. You know, North Dakota State, even with Cam Miller, they only scored 17 last week. They did give up a reasonable amount, though. They gave up 27. You can win a game by only giving up 27. But, you know, they've only they're the opposite of Eastern Washington. They've only scored over 31 time. And that was the blowout of in-state rival North Dakota, which I didn't see coming. So, you know, who knows? If this thing gets over 30, it's Eastern's game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of ball game you would shoot for. The coaching staff should shoot for.
I do think, though, the way that North Dakota State can win, obviously, like I said, the score matters. But last week, South Dakota State really made it a priority number 1 was, all right, we already know the quarterback play isn't the greatest for North Dakota State. How North Dakota State had been winning was number 44, Hunter Lupke.
Yep.
He had been the main reason. That and the defense for North Dakota State is the only reason they've been winning. And when South Dakota State shut down Hunter Lupke, we saw it. Obviously, they played them close still. It was a 17-17 game going into the fourth quarter. South Dakota State outscored them 10-0 in the fourth quarter and won the game. But, yeah, I think if Eastern Washington can do the same thing, if you shut down the running game of Hunter Lupke, make Cam Miller throw the ball, and double team Christian Watson, their number 1 receiver there, I think that's pretty simple game plan for the Eagle defense there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, offensively, just keep doing what you're doing. Eric Barrier, Talolo Limu-Jones, that's my guy. Love him. So the over-under here, we got 54.5.
Ooh. That one's a tough one because this game could go either way. It could either be very low scoring or very high scoring. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just
ball control and time of possession. I mean, it sounds like a repeated theme in every game because it is. But if North Dakota State controls the tempo, it could be 21-17. But if there's some turnovers and Eastern Washington has time of possession, they're going to try to get down the field.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just under. And I was thinking about last week's game against South Dakota State, ended up being 54 total with 27-17. I don't think it's going to be that because, like I said, Eastern Washington think their offense is too good. They're going to score over 30 and win the game. But 30-21, something around that. 35.
I can see that.
35-7.
31-28. Someone kicks a field goal to win it.
35-17 gets you to 52. So,
yeah,
just under though in my mind. I do have this game in the parlay though, and I have.
Who are you taking?
I don't have
Eastern Washington, baby. I love it. I
couldn't do money line. There's a lot of value in Eastern Washington money line because I think it was plus 255 or something like that. Probably the majority of the nation that has not looked into the statistics of Eastern Washington probably thinks this is slam dunk. North Dakota State's going to win. I do like the Eagles in this one, but I am taking the spread. I like them +7 in this one. Just in case they do lose, I think they'll lose.
Yeah, I mean, I think of all the bets that you could have made for this game, I think that was probably the best and safest one to make. So,
yeah, and that's sort of the one that I'm most concerned about. Is this one out of the 4 teams that I have in the parlay this week? There is another one that I'm sort of concerned, but not as much. But yeah, this one is at 3:30 tomorrow. All right, let's go to the other one I am sort of concerned about here. Number 14, Southern Illinois at number 3, Weber State here. So Chris has bashed Weber State all season. He does not believe they should be number 3, regardless of their 5-0 record and their Big Sky Conference championship. I have agreed most of the time. They have played games close, a lot of close games actually in their 5 games.
I think the seeding altogether is messed up, but that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these are FCS top 25s. These guys aren't seeded. So
yeah, I don't know why they only did the top 4.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I said
playoff seedings just Go on. Sorry.
But yeah, Weber State has only not played a 1-possession game 1 time this season out of their 5 games. That was a blowout of Idaho State 49-21 week 1. Their 4 other
Idaho State might have not won a game.
Their 4 other games have all been within 5 points. 3 5-pointers and 1 3-pointer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
why they're ready for close games, but they just can't get any separation.
Yeah, that's why I've been bashing them all season because they've played these close games, and I feel like the top teams should be able to take care of business with no problem. But one play could have changed the entire outcome of those games. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, granted they are 5-0 like we said, but they could have easily been 1-4. Yeah, they could have easily been 1-4 if one play had just changed in each one of those games. So I don't know, but
they have a tough spread is not very big.
They have a tough game this week too against Southern Illinois. So
yeah, I love the Salukis in this game. I am taking Southern Illinois money line in this one. I believe they will win. They are battle tested playing in the Missouri Valley this year. You know, they have big time wins. They rolled North Dakota State 38-14. They also beat, at the time, a top 5 Northern Iowa team by 1 point. You know, they did lose 2 in a row there, getting annihilated by South Dakota State 44-3, and then losing to a Missouri State team who was on a roll at that point in the season, 30-27. 2 weeks off there. Actually, it was 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. Yeah. No, 3. Yeah. It was around 3-ish weeks off. And then they came back and played in a shootout, which I think got them ready for the playoffs, beating Southeastern Louisiana, essentially a play-in game for the playoffs. 55-48. I didn't even know Southern Illinois could score 55. But Stone Labanowitz has been a revelation at the quarterback position for SIU. And yeah, I don't think Weber State's going to win their close one this time.
Well, you said everything I was going to say about the NBC. I mean, it's the toughest conference, top to bottom. You don't know if people were out for injuries in some of those losses. When they had them all healthy, they played well. They played top competition. And I'm with you. If I was betting, I'd follow you. I think they have a great chance to win this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the 4 close games that Weber State's played, though, were they high scoring or low scoring games?
Low.
Yeah. So
highest scoring one was 28-23 against Northern Arizona.
And I think that the Salukis can easily clear that. So I think that this is the Salukis' game to lose here.
Yeah, like I said, other than that week 1 blowout of Idaho State, they've only scored over 20. They've only scored 20 or more twice in that Northern Arizona win where they scored 28. And 2 weeks ago now, beating Idaho State for the second time, 20-15. Otherwise, they've scored in the teens in the other 2 games. So, yeah, definitely. Another one though, if SIU gets in the 20s, can Weber State stick with them? So we'll have to see. Like I said, I do have SIU money line in this game in the parlay. That is the 3rd leg there. Over under for this one is 48.
I like that one. I think it gets over that.
All right. Well, we already said, Weber State, how much can they score? So we'll have to see. And one thing I'll leave with this game, SIU defense has been fantastic this season. They have given up some big numbers a couple times, but other than that, I think they're pretty rough and tumble, I would say. All right. Second to last game here. There you go, Mark.
Missouri State
at number 7, North Dakota. I have no idea, Missouri State, how they got in at 5-4. But they did, and they are playing a conference opponent in the first round, the Skyhawks.
Well, it helps when your coach has been around multiple divisions and won some games and probably has some political pools and makes a case for beating some top teams. Hey, they're a weathered team. I will say that. They're weathered. They made their money playing Oklahoma in the fall. Now they're playing in the spring. And I'm not saying that they're going to win, but I wouldn't want to be North Dakota.
Yeah, they got shut out by North Dakota State, 25-0 on March 6th. They followed that up with a 4-game win streak to get into the playoffs, beating South Dakota by 3, Northern Iowa they upset by 7, and then they upset Southern Illinois by 3. And then they beat Youngstown State by 11. This game was supposed to happen earlier in the season, got canceled. So
it was
in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the coaching, Petrino, he knows what he's doing. He's won at multiple schools. He just couldn't keep his nose clean. I just don't know if the talent is there. We all know North Dakota and South Dakota are some states that are good at football, guys, at this level particularly, right? And so I don't know if Missouri State's there this year. So I don't think I would put some money on them because every good thing has to come to an end, right? So their streak to get into the playoffs, maybe it ends right here. But I think in the few years, I think Missouri State could start if he stays there long enough and gets a recruiting footprint and doesn't jump ship or get in trouble. I think that they could be the third best team in the MVC in the next 5 years. I don't know if you're ever going to overtake South Dakota State and North Dakota State.
By the way, I forgot to say Southern Illinois, Weber State. That's at 4:00 tomorrow.
No, but in terms of Missouri State, though, their record is a lot better than it actually looks because they're one of the teams that got a solid chunk of games in the fall. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they lost all their games that they played, right?
They are 5-1 in the spring season.
Yeah, so when you get rid of the fall games, they're actually one of the better teams in the spring season here. So I think this will be a tough test for North Dakota, but I still think North Dakota does come out on top.
Maybe they steal some games in the playoffs. Maybe they win a couple games.
Yeah, this line is the only one that moved significantly. It was at 7 when I wrote the script last night. It's now at 5.5. It does scare me. I didn't really realize this, but North Dakota hasn't played in about a month. They haven't played since they got rolled by North Dakota State on March 20th. 34-14 or 13, 34-13. Because before that, I thought North Dakota was the team in the MVC, considering what they started out as, going 4-0, just destroying Southern Illinois. They upset South Dakota State. They took down their state rival, South Dakota, and then beating Western Illinois. But then they have the game against North Dakota State, and how are they going to come off a whole month rest? That's the thing that scares me. This is, however, the last leg of the parlay. North Dakota money line. Yeah, I believe in the Hawks.
It is a long layoff, but it can either hurt you or help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, Missouri State has rest too. They haven't played in 2 weeks.
They do.
So,
I do.
Yeah, that parlay there, $10 to win about $70. So,
not bad.
See. The over-under here in this game is 44.5. So, I think it goes over. I think both teams score in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
28-23. North Dakota wins. Missouri State covers by half.
I like it.
All right. Last game. This one, actually, I keep forgetting to say the times. This one is also at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Last game. Big gap between the times of these 2 4:00 games, and then this last one is at 7 o'clock. I don't know what they were thinking of doing there on the schedule. But, yeah, Sacred Heart, the NEC champs, beating Duquesne in the Northeastern Conference Championship there. At number 5, Delaware. The Blue Hens, the winners of the Colonial. Yeah, James Madison did not win the Colonial. The Blue Hens of Delaware did. So this one should be a rout. Sacred Heart came out and surprised us, at least me, beating Duquesne. I thought Duquesne was going to win the NEC. But, Delaware has just dominated every single person they've played this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're scoring, I believe, around 30-something points per game.
They didn't have that hard of a schedule, though, but, yeah, they still have shown up every week and put up a lot of points. So.
Yeah. Lowest point total was last week in their hardest opponent, Chris, against number 10 Villanova. They put up 27, won 27-20, which got them the Colonial crown. Other than that, though, they scored over 30 in all 4 of their other games.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that this one is like the one that I'm like least interested in, though. I don't know. I don't really like either of these teams that much, but this you kind of brought up a good point too before with that Delaware actually won their conference, and that just is another point against the whole seeding thing for this playoffs, because I feel like Delaware then should have the higher seed over JMU, even though JMU was the number 1 team in the country and all that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just so set in my ways with the NFL and stuff. But yeah.
Well, the issue was that the Colonial didn't have a conference championship. You know, if we would have been able to see James Madison play against them, I think that would have been a very entertaining game, and who knows what have won in that case. But yeah.
Can we just talk about how seeing different mascots at this level? The Blue Hens, what a different mascot. But I will say that Delaware football has been getting better if you watch all levels in the past 3 or 4 years. I mean, you always know about James Madison. You hear about the Dakotas, this level, and the Northern Iowas. But Delaware has been a team that's won a lot of football games the past few years.
Yeah, they really haven't been to, prominence since the Eagles' backup quarterback, Joe Flacco, won them a national championship when he was in college. So, yeah,
got himself a Super Bowl ring too.
Yeah,
whether you like it or not.
All right. Yeah. So Delaware is going to win. Did they cover? I think so.
I would say so.
That's a big spread, but I mean, I think they're good enough to do that to Sacred Heart.
I mean,
or even if they don't cover the spread, it'll get to that.
I think it'll be close. I don't know. They had another big spread like this a couple weeks ago against Delaware State, right? Wasn't that like 20 for that one?
Yeah,
and
started out
Delaware State covered that one though, so I don't know.
Yeah, it started out at like 27, and at game time it got up to 30, and they only beat Delaware State by 20. So, but yeah,
in-state rival. I mean, this isn't an in-state rival, right?
Yeah. But I have no issues with Delaware winning, covering. This one, I feel more confident in the cover, though, than South Dakota State against Holy Cross for some reason. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's 4.5 points more in the South Dakota State game, but I still feel more confident in this one. Holy Cross, I think, is better than Sacred Heart. So
that's the longest trip in the first round playoffs, I think, too. That's a long trip.
Probably, yeah.
You're going halfway across the U.S., not all the way, but halfway.
All right, over-under for this one is low. It's 43. How much Sacred Heart?
God. Again, Chris, you gotta fill me on this one again. It's a big spread for only 43 points. The last one that we were arguing about was not arguing, but talking about was minus 21 at 42.
Mm-hmm.
I feel better about the other one going over than this one.
I was gonna say Chris is in a dead spot.
I mean, can Sacred Heart score enough?
I don't know. I don't even know if they can get 3. You know.
I mean, I honestly, I'm sorry to say this on live podcast, but I do not know enough about Sacred Heart's football team.
Well, the thing is, Delaware, the most points they've given up is 21. The second and third most is 20 and 14.
Well, they're going to have to do all of the scoring. So, okay, let's say they give up 10. They're going to have to score. Yeah, I mean, I think at that spread, if they're that good.
Yeah. All right. I still, yeah. All right. I'm going to go over. I think Delaware they should be able to score enough to get, Sacred Heart needs to score a touchdown. I think that's it.
35, it's at 43, right? 35-7.
Wow.
I'll get them under.
Go 38-7.
I guess I would go
35-7.
I mean,
too.
I think I wouldn't go over. That's what I'm saying is 30.
I just don't
30,
have enough confidence in Sacred Heart.
35-14, 35-10.
I think they're going to
I don't know. I'm seeing Delaware score 35, so base it off that.
Well, I guess 35-14 does get the cover too, so that's fine.
Yeah, but I don't see Sacred Heart scoring twice.
Yeah, that's my thing. I mean,
it's a 43 points.
Yeah, that's why it's tough because it's not a touchdown number.
35-10 though puts you at 45.
This is true. All right.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Like I said, this is the last game of the slate tomorrow, first round. We will know Delaware's opponent going into this game. Not that I think it will really matter for this game, but Delaware will be playing, if they win, they will be playing the winner of the Davidson-Jacksonville State, so likely Delaware-Jacksonville State in the second round.
And home team hosts, the highest seed hosts.
Which would be Jacksonville State because they are the only seeded team in that, bracket right there. So I don't know what all of y'all's predicted second round matchups are, but here are mine. I have number 1 seed South Dakota State hosting Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois beating Weber State in an upset. I have them going to.
I will take that. I will back that with you.
Yep, I have that same matchup.
Also in the top of the bracket, the game we just said, number 4 Jacksonville State hosting Delaware. I believe that will be the thing there. And then the bottom of the bracket. See, the bottom of the bracket, that's where it's tough. They have a lot of good teams in the bottom. Top of the bottom here, I have number 3 seed James Madison hosting North Dakota.
I got to go with my alma mater. I don't like what my gut tells me not to, but I got to go with my alma mater.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of those games are going to be tough games, but I think James Madison ultimately wins their game. And the other one I think is more of a toss-up. But I think I'd have to go with the favorite there with North Dakota.
Well, that already means I'm losing.
And then the final piece of the bracket here, which I think is the toughest one. I have number 2 Sam Houston State, number 2 seed Sam Houston State hosting Eastern Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I had both of those. I actually thought Eastern Washington could go into Fargo and win.
Yeah, I mean, we all agree Sam Houston State is probably going to easily win theirs, but the other one, like you said, is tough. But I agree with Eastern Washington as well. So,
dang!
Well, we're all losing that one now.
I thought
you can just mark that North Dakota State is winning in their dome.
Dang! I thought Chris was going to take the Bison on that one.
Gosh.
No,
I guess maybe I need to switch mine just because when we all vote in line in unison, it goes haywire.
Hey,
I can't take North Dakota State because you've talked so bad on them, Rusty, that I can't ever support them anymore.
well, as long as Eastern, like I said, as long as they lose by less than a touchdown, that's fine. I'm okay with that. So
That's funny. That is funny.
all righty. That is the show for tonight. We will not be having a show next Friday because we will be replacing our show next Friday with our draft night coverage. Now, we're going to start earlier than we did last year. Last year, we only started a half an hour earlier. We're going to start an hour earlier, hoping that we can get everything in before the draft starts. Because we're gonna preview the second round of the FCS playoffs on draft night, as well as go through the millions upon millions of NFL news that there will probably be in the next 6 days. So, yes.
Hopefully some of it happens this weekend, so we get rid of it on Monday.
Buckle up and get ready.
Hopefully within tomorrow and Sunday, we will get a lot of NFL news that we won't have as much on draft night, but we still will have about 3 days worth of news going into Thursday's coverage. So that will be fun. We'll have to see who we all can get on this year. We had Max and Durfee last year, trying to get them on again this year, possibly. Our friend Grayson, I don't know what he's doing. We might have him on, trying to get some different people on here. We'll have to see. But it'll be a good time, as always. We had a lot of good laughs last year, and it's always a good 4 hours. And Mark, you need to
I may or may not be in Athens.
Did you tell Charlotte you're ditching her yet? Because we need your setup. I have your
I am the chauffeur, but you can always have the keys to my house.
All right. That sounds like a better plan. All right. Like I said, that is all for the show today. Don't forget, as always, to follow us here on YouTube as well as our Facebook page. Got a lot of good content there. Chris has been on fire the last couple of days, putting out our top 10 at each round, each day.
Yep, counting down the days till the draft.
Also, our Instagram and Twitter at FAA Podcast. FAApodcast.com is our website. Click the little shop button and you can get yourself a nice sweatshirt that Mr. Mark has right there.
Go on Instagram and see the kids' clothing that we offer as well.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, definitely. Also, follow us on Spotify. Hit the little subscribe button. We also need subscribers on YouTube.
My kids are way better looking than I am.
Well, gentlemen.
Yes, Mark. You do have adorable twins. I got to give you
that. Well, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you once
again. That's my claim to fame. That's it.
Thank you once again for a great show. And I am peacing out from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. See y'all on Monday.
See you later.